Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, hi, my name is Monica. I like to post anti-MLM life and some true crime content here on this channel. So if any of that interests you, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I would love for you to stick around. And today we will be talking about an MLM that is targeted towards horse people and anyone who has a dog or a cat apparently. But before we get into that, just as a disclaimer, this video is for entertainment purposes only and just my opinions. And I did want to give a quick shout out to one of my friends on Instagram. My hairstyle is actually thanks to her, so I'll pop up her Instagram somewhere over here. Obviously hers looks much better than mine because my hair is much thinner, but anyway, let's keep going with this video. This particular video is brought to you by myself and this woman named Amanda, who is in my anti-MLM Facebook group. She is very, very, very well versed in horses. She is even, by some organizations, she is considered a professional because she does get monetary compensation for training and lessons and that kind of a thing. But she also went to school for equine science. So I figured she was one of the best people to talk to about this, and she got some information for me. So thank you so much, Amanda, for helping me on this video and for all the research for this video. But yeah, there's an MLM for horse people. So, and fun fact, the school that I went to, the college that I went to, I don't know if it still is right now, but at the time of me going, it was very, very well known for its equine program. And me personally, I have never been on a horse before because I always had this fear after watching Superman and my mom telling me that Superman was thrown off of a horse and he got very, very badly injured and paralyzed. So I had this fear of getting on a horse, but I think I'm finally wanting to get over my fear and wanting to get on a horse. But that is besides the point of this video. So the company that we're going to be talking about today is called Summit Joint Performance. And of course, just like I said, they are targeting people that have horses. They are also targeting people that have dogs. So a little bit about the company. On their About Us section, it's a very generic About Us section. There's not really much of their story on there. Me personally, I think that their About Us is more of a mission statement rather than about them. And it says, meet Team Summit. We are a team that is dedicated to optimizing the quality of life for pets and working animals alike, enhancing the unique bonds and loving relationships between animals and humans. Just as the relationship between animal and human is direct, honest, and caring, so too will be our interactions with each other. In living our mission, we create a thriving business opportunity based on integrity and products that provide real results. So as I said, I feel as though this is more of a mission statement than anything else, but I did find a few articles. I will leave everything linked below because a few of the articles that I found were, all of the articles that I found were very, maybe I wouldn't necessarily say biased, but a lot of them are on Summit Joint Performance's side. But there are a few things that I wanted to go over that are a little bit alarming to me. But anyway, a few articles said that this idea started from a woman who had a husband who was a doctor. Now, the formula for this particular joint performance vials, medication, whatever you want to call it, the original creator of it was Dr. Marvin Hausman. Dr. Marvin Hausman had originally created this formula for human patients who would go in for some kind of eye surgeries. And the doctors, they wanted to be able to help with with the inflammation that would happen after these eye surgeries. So that's why they came up with this formula. So this woman, her husband was a doctor, and she started taking this and injecting it into her horses because she had a lot of horses that were not very youthful anymore. And so she wanted to see if this would help with joint pain and that kind of a thing. So all of a sudden, because this wasn't being manufactured anymore, she decided that she was going to go to her vet, which was Dr. Heather Farmer. And she went to her vet and told her about how this has been helping her horses. Well, the vet, Dr. Heather Farmer, decided to share that information with her husband, Dorian. And they decided to take this product and inject their own horses to see if it would help their own horses. But here's the thing that bothers me about this is that, wouldn't you think, now this is just coming from someone who has pets. I only have dogs, so I don't know the world of horses. I don't know how it is to be an owner of a horse. But for me personally, if I had for my dogs, and if there was this thing that was being used for humans, but there were no clinical trials or anything like that that were done on animals yet, and it was something that you would be injecting into their muscles, I mean, that would be a little bit alarming to me, and I wouldn't do anything without that clinical trial. With that being said, later on in this video, I am going to go over something that Amanda was talking to me about regarding these injections that they do use on horses into the muscle. But anyway, let's keep going. So the Dr. Heather Farmer and her husband, Dorian, they saw results. They said that they saw results within 24 hours, that their horses were doing better within 24 hours. And they decided to get this formula scientifically tested and to see if they could study on other horses to see if this would actually be something that would work. Now, the thing that I find kind of weird is the one article was talking about how they had, and I can't find proof of this anywhere, but that the clinical trials were conducted with Cornell University of Pathogens Laboratories, and which, if you watch The Office, Cornell, that just reminds me of The Office, but anyway. And they said that they did these clinical trials with Cornell. So I'm wondering, are they talking about the original formula from Dr. Marvin Houseman and not this new formula, I guess, that they were trying to create for the horses? Because I couldn't find evidence of that, because the study that was sent to Amanda is their own initial study. It wasn't a clinical trial, it's just their own study. This same article said that within 72 hours, over 80% of cases had a noticeable change with quality of their intra-articular joint fluid. The same article would go on to say that Summit helped with the following: decrease or even eliminate pain, increase mobility, improve the cushioning properties of cartilage pads in joints. They would also say that Summit is not a painkiller and that it doesn't just cover up symptoms, but it's supposed to help repair, renew, and protect joints within 24 hours of the first dose. However, again, I was not able to find clinical trials that prove this, just the initial study that Summit did on their own. But let's keep going. So when my friend Amanda, just like I was saying, she reached out to the company and she had asked them for more information about the clinical trials, about everything like that. And they sent her the original studies of Dr. Marvin Houseman, like I said, who had originally created the formula for human patients, which was, and I'm going to say it wrong, so I'm going to pop it up on the screen, chondroitin sulfate A. And then they attached the initial study along with the compensation plan, along with a compensation plan video from the CEO, which we will go over later. And with all of these amazing results that they had from their study, they decided that they were going to buy this idea from the original person who had talked to them about it and start creating the product. Before we go any further, because they did end up turning it into a MLM structure, they decided that they're going to keep it as a word of mouth advertising, which we know is MLM. And they said that they did this so that they can keep costs down so that people can get more money. But let's be real here, it's so that they don't have to pay for advertising. And because the people in the triangle-like structure are probably not making that much money, and there's no income disclosure statement, so we don't even know how much they're making. And the one video that I watched of the CEO talking about the compensation plan, he even said in there that he can't give the amounts that people can make at each rank, which is kind of weird to me because, yeah, you can't make income claims. That's right. Like, the reps can't go out there and say, I make a 6-figure income. However, you can put an income disclosure statement out there. So anyway, there's a few things that are wrong with his video that we will go over. Next up, I wanted to talk about the compensation plan. I will leave a link to the video of the CEO explaining the compensation plan because it is very confusing. As every MLM that I've looked into so far, I feel like every single one of their compensation plans has been very confusing. But I will leave that link below because he does give examples as well in that video. And I'm going to pop up on the screen the document that they sent over to Amanda. It says that there are 2 ways to earn: retail commissions for selling Summit JP products to retail customers and on personal purchases. If you look at the retail commissions, it says it has this little table, and it says monthly sales, PS, which is personal sales, and then if not NCQ, if NCQ. NCQ stands for new customer qualifying. And new customer qualified means to be new customer qualified, a representative must have at least 500 new customer personal sales in a 3-month period. So if you get that, let's say that you have monthly personal sales of 0 to $99.99, you're going to get 0%, whether you're a new customer qualified or not. It's when you make $100 to $999, you get 5% if not NCQ and 15% if NCQ. And then it keeps going up, and it says if it's $1,000 to $2,999, it's 10% if not NCQ and 20% if NCQ. Then when you look at 3,000 plus, it's 20% if not NCQ and 30% if NCQ. Then you have team commissions. So it talks about the different tiers, obviously. Next, I wanted to get into the video where the CEO breaks down the compensation plan. And like I said, I will leave it linked below if you are really interested in the whole video, but the video is 15 minutes long and I don't want to play that entire thing and make this video much longer than it has to be. But there is a part of the video at the end that I find very interesting, and we're gonna play that right now.
I make 7% on everybody that they bring into the business, and then I make 5% on what those rock stars bring into the business as well. So those numbers get great, and that's what's exciting about this business, is that we can build long-term wealth just by working hard and supporting these people. So that is how you make money with the Summit Joint Performance Compensation Plan: personal sales and team sales. And that residual income can last you for a long time if you choose to work the system. So what do we do now? I love this, and I probably should have put it in here, but I do. We make a list, we make the call, rinse and repeat. So the most important thing that I have learned, and I'm not a direct sales guy, I'm the owner of Summit. I've never done direct sales, so this is all new to me as well. We've got a great team, and we have great people supporting us that know everything there is to know about the business. But the one thing that I have found the most important in all my sales experience is making the list and making the calls. If you don't pick up that telephone to call your friends, your barn mates, the people that you know from the show, the people that you compete against, nothing's going to happen. If you don't make a move, they're not going to make a move. So when you make your list, the first thing you do is call people. It oftentimes takes 7 touches in order to actually convince somebody to come and try something that you want, whether it's trying to work the Summit business plan or it's just trying to get to know the product and to use the product for the first time. Oftentimes it takes 7 touches, and so that's a very important number. So you have to make the telephone call, you have to send a text, you have to send an email, you have to talk to them at the shows. The more times you do that, the more successful you will be. I often equated it to dating when I was a kid. The more girls you ask out, the more girls are going to say yes. You might get a lot that say no, and in my case, obviously I did, but you're going to have a lot more say yes if you talk to more people. And thank you, Dad, for teaching me that when I was a kid. Pearls of wisdom from Craig. Craig Fleming is our main consultant who's gotten us into this business and gotten us where we are.
Let me just pause it for a second. Is that not the epitome of no doesn't mean no? It just means not right now. That's exactly what that is. And on top of that as well, calling, texting, emailing 7 times or whatever he said. Oh gosh, that just reminds me of what's that movie? The Ring? 7 days? Yeah. Yep. Anyway.
His main thing is you are going to get a lifetime of residual income off the people that you know around this country. Be the one to get that lifetime of income. Call them now. Don't wait until tomorrow or the next day or the next day. Because I promise you, as we start loading more people into this system, those people are going to get taken. So it is your opportunity now.
Because it's called market saturation. That's what that is. It's called market saturation. You can only recruit so many people into this business opportunity.
To make those telephone calls and to get that lifetime of residual income for you and your family. It's so important. Make a list, make the call, do it again. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you earn money with Summit Joint Performance.
Residual income. FTC. Isn't that okay? If you watch my Rodan and Fields deep dive, they just got in trouble by the FTC. They got a warning letter sent to them because some of their reps were talking about residual income. This guy obviously is very new to direct selling because he even said he doesn't know anything about direct sales. Well, you might want to talk about the FTC to your people, or you might want to look into the FTC because you just made a claim that can get you a warning letter sent. Hey everyone, Editing Monica here. I just wanted to hop on real quick and say that when I recorded this video, I did it kind of out of order, so there's no easy transition to go from the topic I was just talking about to the next one. So I'm going to end up talking about the clinical trials, it's their initial study next, and I am so sorry that it is so out of order, but forgive me for just, anyway, let's get back to the video. I wanted to go over the initial study that they had, and it starts off with saying pilot study, a novel chondroitin sulfate isomer for reducing inflammation in equine joints. And the original people that were doing it were Dr. Farmer and Dr. Costella Chavers, and they performed this at Dr. Heather Farmer's vet practice. I do have to say that there is a disclosure that says this study was performed prior to acquisition of Summit by Equine Joint Performance. Titleist Technologies Incorporated is owned and managed by the owners and operators of Equine Performance Veterinary Practice. Dr. Farmer and Costella Chavers were not compensated for work on this project. I just had to get that out there. And here's the introduction to the study. Osteoarthritis and synovitis, I don't know if I'm saying that right. I have a really hard time pronouncing words, are common conditions in athletic horses that shorten athletic careers and decrease performance and comfort. There are several modalities used in equine sports medicine to alleviate and treat joint pain and inflammation, including steroids, conditioned serums, platelet-rich plasma preparations, hyaluronic acids, shockwave, laser, and various nutraceuticals. Non-invasive therapies that reduce joint inflammation help prevent further cartilage degradation, oh my gosh, I can't talk today, and may help prolong the athletic life of a horse. Inherent components of articular cartilage are common targets for therapy as they have been shown to be symptom and disease modifying agents. With all that being said, that is just the introduction to this study that they did on their own, in their own practice. To me, and this is just personal opinion, don't come for me, this is just my personal opinion. This, in my opinion, is not a clinical trial. This is just a study that they did on their own in their own practice. So I think that this could kind of be biased a little bit because they're the creators of the product and they're creating it in their own practice. They aren't doing it by someone else who has no connection to the product. these are the people that created the product. So in my opinion, I mean, I don't really know how all clinical trials work. Maybe that is common practice, but for me personally, looking at this from an outsider's perspective, that's just what I think of. Of course, we keep going down this study, and if anyone wants this, please email me or send me a DM and I'll send it to you. But this, I don't have a link to it. It's literally a document that I have on my computer. But it says materials and methods. 8 horses with diagnosed osteoarthritis and a joint and varying degrees of lameness were selected for the pilot study, which is in table 1. There were 4 gelding and 4 mares with mean age of 16 years, range 8 to 21 years. There were 5 warm bloods, 2 thoroughbreds, and 1 appendix quarter horse. Treatment with other anti-inflammatories, joint therapy products, or intra-articular therapies were not permitted for 60 days prior to the study or during the duration of the study. Prior to treatment, sterile synovial fluid samples were collected from the affected joint along with systemic blood samples. Horses were injected with 100 milligrams of Summit intramuscularly in the left or right cervical musculature on day 0. Additional synovial fluid and blood samples were then collected at 24 hours, 72 hours, and 70 days following the first injection. All fluid and blood samples were handled sterilely and testing performed immediately. The color, clarity, and subjective viscosity were evaluated and recorded for each sample of synovial fluid obtained. Blood samples were tested for C-reactive protein concentrations. Synovial fluid samples were tested for CRP concentrations and semi-quantitative SAA levels. SAA levels were graded 1 to 4. 1 indicating severe inflammation and 4 indicating to detectable SAA. Statistical significance was assessed using 2 tail students paired t-test and 2 sample unequal variances due to small sample size in Excel version 1807 for Windows. Significant was set at p less than or equal to 0.05. Okay, so I'm gonna pop up the final results up on the screen. So if you want to pause the video and read it for yourself, that's fine. I'm only going to take pieces out of it because there are a lot of things in here that are very scientific. So if you're more into the science aspect of it, you can definitely take a look at that. But it says no adverse effects were observed during the study, and none were noted by the owners following its conclusion. Day 7 blood and synovial fluid samples from horse 7 were not obtained. Day 7 synovial fluid sample from horse 1 was not obtained. 1 week following administration, it was not significantly different with average based on 2 sample t-tests from assumed unequal variances, but was significant with horse 7 removed in the paired t-test. On day 7, the mean intra-articular CRP was significantly different based on the 2 sample t-tests for assumed unequal variances and trended towards significant in the paired t-test. Mean intra-articular SAA on day 0 was 3+1, which was significantly different from day 7 in both the paired t-test and the 2 sample t-test for assumed unequal variances. 6 of 8 horses were noted to have blood-tinged and thin synovial fluid on day 0. Of the 6 horses with synovial fluid retrieved on day 7, 5 of them were noted to have increased viscosity of synovial fluid and no blood tinting was seen. No subjective notes on horse 6 were recorded. Due to the small sample size, individual CRP results for all horses are presented in figure 2. And the final discussion of this entire test, it says the results of this study show supportive data for Summit to reduce inflammation in joints. Additionally, there was no indication of increased inflammation systematically or intra-articularly. A small degree of increased inflammation is to be expected with arthrocentesis, as has been demonstrated subsequent to any puncture of the synovium, but this was not observed in this small study and is typically observed with increased synovial fluid protein and cell counts. To the author's knowledge, there are no injectable formulation of CSA currently licensed in the United States. The most similar products are the PSGAG, There is summarized supportive research for PSGAG's ability to modulate symptoms of arthritis, but ability to modulate the disease process is debated. They even said in here that this was their study. This was their initial study. This isn't a clinical trial. So my whole thing is, I feel like if you're going to inject your horse with something, and they even go on to say that you can use this for dogs. There is a video by the CEO who says you can even inject your cats. So I feel as though if they're trying to target so many different people, you should probably know what you're injecting your animals with. Because talking to Amanda, she was telling me that for when it comes to injectables, which we will get into an entire discussion about that, she sent me a really good article. There are a lot of cons to that as well, and it should be administered by a vet, and it should be administered into the vein and not into the muscle directly. And because there can be an infection, which I looked up pictures of the infection, and it is heartbreaking what this infection looks like. I mean, I feel for the horses that had to go through this. Please don't look up the pictures if you have a weak stomach, because it's pretty graphic. I'm not going to put it in this video, but it's pretty graphic, and honestly, my heart hurts for the horses that have to go through those types of infections. This is the article that I got from Amanda, and it talks about risks of giving intramuscular Banamine to horses. And it goes into what is Banamine, and it is a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory agent that relieves pain, swelling, and fever in horses. It comes in two forms, injectable and oral. Veterinarians routinely use the injectable form in the vein as an IV. Horse owners may have oral and injectable Banamine on hand to relieve pain. Owners must know the risks of giving this and other medications into the muscle. And muscle damage and infections. Many drugs can cause muscle damage when injected, and it gives you an entire list of all of those. So I'll leave that up on the screen if you'd like to pause it and read it. And then it says, this usually causes a few problems, but spores of bacteria, Clostridium, can rest in healthy muscle and start to grow if the muscle gets damaged. This growth can cause clostridial myositis, a serious and sometimes fatal infection. That is the infection that I was just talking about before, that if you look it up, it is very graphic, and I can't imagine being a horse owner and seeing something like that on my horse. It literally looks like the infection is eating them from the inside out. That's literally what it looks like, and it looks so painful just looking at the pictures. And then it goes on to diagnosing, treatment, and prevention. So we're going to look at the prevention part of it. The risks of Clostridial myositis are relatively low. If possible, always give Banamine by mouth or have your veterinarian give the drug IV. If you give any IM injection, watch the area for signs of swelling and gas pockets under the skin, the horse for fever or depression, and call your veterinarian right away if you notice these signs. So of course, I am not an expert. I am just reporting on what is on this website. But Amanda does say that she doesn't agree with the IM injection, that can have so many bad side effects, and it can cause this infection that I was just talking about. So that is something that can happen to the horse. But I did want to continue to keep going about this particular MLM. Let's move on to the starter kits and the prices of the products, because these are... It's expensive. And I mean, of course it's going to be expensive, because this is targeting to horses and dogs and cats apparently too, but mostly horses. That's what they started off with. So of course, horses are expensive. Their vet bills are going to be expensive. Amanda just told me the other day about how much it freaking costs for the vet bills for something. So horses are expensive. So it is to be expected that the prices are going to be really high. But if you look at their website, it shows different loading doses, which is supposed to be the initial dose, and you're supposed to give that to your horse first, or they even say to your dog, but they're supposed to give that to them first, and then after that there's the maintenance doses. So those are going to be cheaper than the initial loading dose. But the initial loading dose for, let's say, equine loading dose, it's 132. Canine loading dose is also 132, and concentrated loading dose is 160. Then if you look at the same exact maintenance doses right underneath it, it's $99 for equine maintenance, $99 for canine maintenance, and $120 for concentrated maintenance. And then it keeps going. You can take a look at this on your own time. But the starter kits, so there is one starter kit which is $99.99, and that equals 2 doses of Summit Equine, personalized Summit website for 3 months, and then after that 3 months it's $9.99 per month. Getting started manual, Summit banner, notebook, Summit baseball cap, sample of product info sheets and trifolds, Fearless Networking book by Todd Falcone. The value is $199.99. But you get it for $99.99. On top of that, shipping is $12.99, and then you get a bonus coupon for a free Summit polo shirt. Exciting. Then you have the canine starter kit, and that is also the same pricing as the previous one. It's $99.99 for the kit. It's a value of $199.99, and the starter kit additional shipping is $12.99. So, and same thing, coupon for the free polo shirt. And this is the same thing except the canine version instead of the equine version. And then there's one for a veterinarians only account, and that is $0, it says right there, but you have to put in the proper credentials in order to show that you are actually a vet, that you aren't just everyday representative. I also wanted to take note that on their website there are 3 professional riders, I think that's what they're called, that endorse this product, which include Rowan Willis, Ashley Bond, and Shannon Dweck. I don't know if I'm saying that properly. Again, I'm not in the horse world, so I don't know if that's the proper way, but they endorse this product, and they're on there talking about how the shots are so great and all that kind of stuff. My final thoughts on this whole thing. I'm not a horse person, so I can't speak on that topic, but I am an animal person, and I am a dog person. I have dogs at home. In my humble opinion, because I cannot find these clinical trials that they talk about, it's just the initial study that they have, I would not feel comfortable injecting my animals with something if I do not have those clinical trials. Because yes, they have an initial study, but it's done by the person who is in charge of the company, and it was done in her own practice. So in my personal opinion, I would find that a little biased, and I would be looking for the clinical trials that I can't find anywhere on their website. So that's just my whole thing, and I don't know. I think that the Cornell trials that they were talking about, I think that that was for the original creator of the original formula for humans, Dr. Marvin Hausman. I think that those studies were probably done by that doctor. I don't think that they were done. This is just my theory. I don't think that they were done by this vet. And I don't know. I didn't even know that there was an MLM for horses, but you learn something new every day. And I guess that's all that I have for you guys today. Make sure to like this video. Make sure to subscribe if you'd like to stick around. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Amanda, if you're watching this, if I missed anything that was very, very important, please leave it in the comment section below or contact me directly and I'll make a follow-up video about it. Anyway, if you have watched up to here, thank you so much for watching. This is Monica reporting to you live from a highway. Bye.